what's up? So we got Arrow season 2, episode 15, The Promise. So this episode picks up right where last episode left off, where we see Slade in Oliver's house, which is one of the best moments of the show. So yeah. Slade's deciding to endorse Moira's campaign, but we know it's so he can get back at Oliver. For what he put him through on the island. So we should talk about. So I'm gonna first talk about this stuff, and then I'm gonna talk about the island stuff, because the island stuff does play a part into Slade's master plan. So then Thea shows. So Oliver's being mean to Slade. Moira doesn't know this. Oliver's saying some stuff that she considers mean attitude, but she doesn't know his history of Slade and why he's doing this. If she only knew why he did what he's doing, she would understand. So yeah, but anyway, so Slade comes in, and Oliver's about to hit him with a screwdriver, but then Slade's able to knock it out of his hand and says, "No, you kid, not till we meet the rest of your family." I love my Slade impression now. He just has a grizzly voice. Yeah. So Oliver attempts to call them, puts them on butt dial, and they hear Slade, and Sarah's like, gee, that is Slade Wilson. If we don't stop him, he is going to kill Oliver and his entire family. So they jack up, get their biggest gun. They get Roy because of his Miracruber powers, and Diggle has the gun ready. Sarah goes in the back way. So Roy meets Slade, but he can't do anything. He can't attack Sarah or anything because of Thea and Moira being there. And then Sarah shows up, and he's like, "Ooh, the girl who came back from the dead." And he's like, "We're glad to have her home." So yeah, Sarah's like, "I'll walk you out, Mr. Wilson." And Oliver pieces together Sarah's gold, the man in the skull mask. That was all you, Slade. And he's like, I have my ally, just like you have yours, kid. And he's like, "What are you doing here?" And he's like, 5 years ago, I made you a promise. I'm here to fulfill it. So let's talk about the island. Let's talk about the flashback stuff before. Okay, so Oliver see Ivo's boat. Oliver, Slade, and Sarah see Ivo's boat, and they attempt to get onto it. Oliver pretends to do archery skill, until he gets captured, puts truth serum. They get on, they save everybody, but when Ivo knows that Slade's gonna overhear this, so he attempts to say, Slade overhears the whole conversation, knowing that Ivo shot Shadow, but it was Oliver's choice. And he was like, "You knew?" And they get into, and Oliver and Slade get into a fight about it. And he's like, "It's Ivo," and he's like, "Ivo's dead, and like, you should be Oliver," and they get into a fight. Yeah, this fight is so cool, and at least it's giving us more reason why Slade hates Oliver. He found out about Shadow's death. He blames Oliver for it, and yeah, so they capture him, and Slade's like, "I'm the new captain now," Slade's like, "I'm the new captain of the Amazo now," and he's like, he's the new captain of the Amazo now. And Slade's like, show Ivo, show him how he pointed the gun that shot Shadow. And he does. But then what does Slade do? He cuts Ivo's hand and takes him away. Yeah, he cuts off Ivo's hand and sends him away. Oh, I'm gonna love these remaining episodes with the flashbacks. This is why I review the flashback episodes. When the flashback episodes get good like this is when I start paying attention to them. So yeah. So yeah. But anyway, like Slade, you said we were brothers, and he's like, I made you. Yeah. So Slade basically tells Oliver his promise that he said, the promise that he made to him. He's about to say to flashback Oliver is that he wants to make Oliver feel the despair and the pain that he made him feel. And he's like, that's a promise. So that's the promise. He just wants to make Oliver suffer and make like he suffered. Make him feel despair, like he felt despair. And that's his whole plan. That's just his plan. To make Oliver suffer. So yeah. So then out of the flashback, Moira blames Oliver, saying, hey, if you're gonna act like that, maybe you shouldn't come around this house anymore. But if you knew what he went through, if you knew why he doesn't like Slade, you would be not liking Slade either, Moira. And then we see Slade. Slade bugged the house. Now he can see everything out of the Queen family room. And he shows us with his missing eye, which looks really gross. Wow, that was really good. That was fake. Whew. But anyway, that was the end of the episode. I really enjoyed this one. Maybe one of my favorite episodes of Arrow ever. I loved Slade. I love how it gave us why Slade hates Oliver. Because flashback Slade knows about Shadow's death. And he just wants to make Oliver pay by any means necessary. Because he wants to suffer the way that he wants to make Oliver suffer the way that he suffered. And he's like, that's a promise. And now present Slade is here to fulfill that promise by making Oliver suffer. But yeah, I think this is one of my favorite episodes of Arrow. I just love this one. This is one of my favorite episodes. It will always be one of my favorite episodes. I really enjoy it. It's one of my favorite episodes of Arrow ever. And because I love Slade, I think Manu Bennett does a really great job portraying the character. I just think he does a really good job portraying the character of Slade Wilson. So yeah, I also liked how Roy and Slade handshaked, and he was like, that's a firm grip you got there. And he's like, yeah, you too. Only if Moira knew that Oliver and Slade knew each other and why he dislikes him, she would not be acting this way. She would totally agree with Oliver-san, and she would totally agree with him and be like Slade's evil, but no, he doesn't want to tell her. She totally thinks that he was totally out of line and that she shouldn't come around her house anymore. Where does Oliver live now? If he doesn't have the mansion, then where does he live? Does he just live in the basement of his former wherever his base is? I mean, it's probably still at Verdant, but wouldn't someone just go down there? Wouldn't Thea just go down there and see the Arrow Cave? I don't know. But yeah, that was it for this video. I'll see you next time for some more Arrow.